So yeah, the lyrics. Let's talk about the lyrics in this section right here. Okay, so he's saying all the light we cannot see, sky of gold mysteries, stairway up, set us free, beyond the skies, the master key. So lyrically, this is in like stark contrast to what we got before. So just as a reminder, before we went into that bridge section, the lyrics were, I write for me now on my head, I read for me when I'm dead, unto the road, the golden way, eternal light. There is this idea that humans, the humans were very selfish and arrogant, and we're heading the golden way, the pathway to eternal light. And now the first line here is all the light we cannot see, sky of gold mysteries. So they have abandoned that. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Yeah, it's done. What they thought was the eternal path to light was absolutely not that at all. Yeah, and at this point, then, you know, it's not there. They've basically given up on that. The sky of gold is a mystery to them. Now they're saying, stairway up, set us free, please. They're begging to be set free. They're screaming to be set free. I mean, the way he's singing this is very, you know, it is a strained scream, but this time it feels much more purposeful, as if they're crying out in pain, which makes sense. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think, again, this is one of those times where he changes his voice and he changes the tone of his voice to portray the emotion of what is supposed to be felt here, not just to sing what sounds good. And in this case, I think he nailed it. I think it's really cool. Yeah, I think the only line here that might be, well, okay, so the first three lines are pretty obvious, but when you get to that last line, beyond the skies, the master key, I think that's a pretty interesting line. And I think that that's kind of I think it's a little bit of it's definitely a line that's open to interpretation, for sure. And I think that you could reference that to many different things. I think it could be like some type of philosophical revelation, like obviously God is an implication, like, you know, the master key to life is God, whatever it is, whatever the master key is, it's beyond the sky. You know, so that sky of gold that they were talking about, the eternal path, the golden way to eternal light. I think that they're saying like beyond that was the master key. I think that master key line is kind of interesting. It's, I mean, the implication is Zelda. Like, I just always think of Zelda when I think of a master key. And I know M Shadows is a big Zelda fan, so I don't know, maybe there's a Zelda. Maybe he threw that in there just as like a video game reference, since this is for Call of Duty. But regardless, basically this section is about, you know, humanity recognizing that they're doomed and they give up on all the light. They can't see the light. The sky of gold is a mystery to them. They're begging to be set free, and they recognize that it was something beyond the sky, something beyond what they envisioned, that was actually the key to what they wanted or what they were looking for. Yeah, a bit grim, definitely a bit grim, but pretty awesome. And so, yeah, I want to talk about this. I want to take just a quick aside on this as well. Yeah, this section to me is very, very visual. It's very visual. I can imagine people just being trapped by technology and tortured. If any of you guys have ever seen the Animatrix, like there's some brutal stuff in there with like the machines experimenting on humans. And I imagine that, like, that's what I imagine here. And so, yeah, I think that they, like, people being tortured and begging to be set free. And I think that Avenged Sevenfold was able to portray that here in a way that's very tasteful, but also not, in a way that's gruesome and brutal, but also tasteful, like not so gruesome that it's like off-putting or overindulgent. It's actually very artistically interesting. Regarding this, what I guess you could call it a breakdown. I think that we're used to things because this is very jarring. It's very aggressive and like it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant to listen to, right? But that's kind of the appeal. I think, whatever. I think it's cool. I think there might be some people who don't think it's cool, but I think that we're really used to music being like really perfect all the time and just being perfectly catered to every little thing that we like. And that when we hear something that's genuinely off-putting and genuinely like makes us just go, oh, I think sometimes we forget that that's kind of the point of music. And that's the point of stuff that's off-putting. Like, to me, this is much more aggressive and much more violent and brutal than like most breakdowns I hear today. Like what's that Bring Me the Horizon song? Hold on. Oh, come on. They're going to make me go through. Okay, here we go. Like, this song here has a crazy breakdown. You hear something like that and it's like, okay, yeah, it's so much more. There's definitely a much higher level of like sophistication to something like that. It's much more technically impressive, but it's so like, I compare that to something like this. And I just don't even think it comes close. I think that Magic sounds so much more brutal, so much more heavy and aggressive, and I might be in the minority there, but I think that we forget that the point of the music is to be like, the point of something that's supposed to be off-putting or aggressive is to actually be off-putting and aggressive. I think that a lot of people in the metal community, they have this perspective of, I want my music to be heavy, but only the way that I like it. It needs to be heavy in the way that I'm used to hearing it be heavy, the breakdown better be the way that I like breakdowns, It's like, it's kind of the whole damn point of the breakdown, is to like take you by surprise, to show you something that you haven't heard, to be aggressive. And so I don't know. I feel very burnt out on the types of breakdowns like in that Bring Me the Horizon song. And so when I hear something like this, I'm like, this is cool. This is interesting. I don't know if I've ever quite heard a section like this in exactly this way, And so, yeah, and I think this is important. Like, this is almost the flip side of what I was talking about with the mix, where, artists who take risks and do things that are a little bit different, because I do think this is different. Maybe people disagree, but I think that this is a very unique sounding section. It's very different from something I would normally listen to from another band. Like, that composition as a whole is unique to me. And I think that artists who are willing to try those different things, there are risk and reward. And so in this case, I think like the mix and what they did with the mix, not doing a conventional mix at all, that was a risk, and I don't think it paid off. But then in this case with the composition, where the way that they used, dun, 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 like these machine like staccato guitar and drums, and then just this crazy vocal effect, I think that did pay off, so there's a balance. And so personally, that's kind of the only way that you can really break new ground when it comes to music and anything, is to experiment and try new things. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And personally, I would much rather listen to artists try new things and it not quite work, but half the time maybe it doesn't work, but half the time it does, than listen to an artist who just does the same thing over and over and over and over again, and sticks to a tried and true formula on, the composition, the mix, everything. I don't want to hear that. And I don't think that those are the types of artists who last in the long run. I mean, almost, it's funny. I'm just going to go on a killing spree here and just talk shit about all sorts of bands. But like, Atreyu just released a new song today. And, it's just kind of bland. where is it? Children of Light. It's pretty bland. Here's Atreyu's new song, right? And it's like, it's just the same, it's the same thing you've heard from Atreyu for years. It's nothing crazy. I mean, listen to it compared to this. You know? I did it was supposed to be. I did it all for you. You know, it's like, it's just the same generic crap that you've heard a million times, right? I mean, we've all heard that type of stuff. And so, yeah, the question is, I mean, what kind of artists do you want? Do you want your artists to do the same things and take, you know, not take any risks? Or would you rather have the artists who are willing to take risks and sometimes they don't work out and they don't always go the way you want? Or would you rather have the artist that does the same thing, takes no risks whatsoever, and then you just get the same thing over and over again, you know? So I do not want the same thing over again. I want artists who are adventurous and willing to try things. But even if it's my favorite band, I'm willing to say, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out. So cool. Okay. So now that that's done, we get into pre-chorus 3. Oh, hold on, I gotta get us back there.